Ricardo Franassovici. Thank you for the interview.
Good morning, Jose. Good morning. You know, it's always a pleasure for me to be here. You know, I've got lots of roots here and lots of...
You are most welcome to your own country, if I may say so.
That's a good way to phrase it, yeah.
If I may say so.
Although I've got a passport from France, but, you know, there's very little connection to France, so I'm well connected here in Portugal, yeah.
Yes, and to music too, in Portugal.
Oh, yes, with Fado, and obviously the modern Fado, the classic Fado, so yes, absolutely, yeah.
Ricardo, about the 10 collection. Our interview is about the 10 collection. What led you to curate the 10 collection?
Well,
you have so many famous brands.
Of course I've got very famous brands, but you know, I'm always listening. I think fundamentally what people don't know is that I spend a great percentage of my life listening to music, and so therefore I'm always interested in listening to new devices to know where we stand vis-a-vis the competition. But not only that, I realized over the years that as companies grow, there is maybe a possibility to encourage artisans parallel to the good big names, which will always be the big names, but to bring in artisans with dreams and passions. And this was really the drive behind this. 10, by the way, was decided to be 10 collection because we couldn't find a web domain with 10, of course, but it's really called 10. And 10 was emulated from a Japanese world that's very similar to heavenly. So heavenly was the message I was trying to convey through these lovely instruments.
And will you stop at 10 products?
Will you?
10 doesn't mean 10 in English. Will you stop?
No, number 10, no. What will happen is that technically a 10 products one day becomes a full Absolute Sounds products if it grows, if the designer decides to get into a wider audience. But at the moment, they all share one characteristics. Home built, sometimes even single man construction in the case of Robert Coda, which refuses to get any help because just like a big instrument maker from Cremona, he reckons he's the only one that can build his own amplifiers. Very limited production, as you know. I mean, so it is really a demonstration of my passion for music and saying, well, I like this guy, I like what this guy is doing, let's bring him into 10.
So can we say that 10 is an incubator?
It could be an incubator, depending what the designer decides. I think in the case of Robert Kober, he will always stay, because that's his lifestyle. He doesn't want to be a wider audience company, because that brings all sorts of problems that he probably doesn't want to deal with.
What are some of the standout pieces in the 10 collection and why they were chosen?
Okay, so the pursuits...
They are very different.
Of course.
The Metaxas.
Of course, no. So you will see this, there's a thread there. Basically, I went for a solid state group, a valve group in the electronics, one turntable source, one reel-to-reel source, and now we're introducing a cartridge range that's going into 10, which I'm happy to talk to you about later on. One phono stage, one turntable. So we basically there's no overlap in any of the products that are into 10.
So brands like Franco Serblin or Jadis are not startups. That's why they are not.
Yes,
The 10
if 10
collection.
existed 20 years ago, they would have been in 10. Yes, they would have been in 10. I think you picked a couple of very good names now, but now Jadis is well known by the world and produces, and is still an excellent company. Very good value for money, by the way. I recommend people to check. The price ratio is unbelievable. But yes, no, this was more new hits, new stars.
What has been the response from the audiophile community towards the 10 collection?
Quite good. I mean, for example, I don't want to give specific names, but all of them have done well within the capacity, the production capacity that these companies can offer. Because I repeat, in the case of Robert Coda and his amplifiers, we're talking about maybe 4 or 5 pairs a year available. So, that's a very limited market, but the response has been very good, yes.
Do you think that the 10 collection will influence other distributors and manufacturers?
I think there's already, I've seen quite a few distributors using the artisan world. Well, I'm very flattered because I was the first one to do it. So, and let them be and let them try and let them find these people. I think it's very encouraging to know that we can, we have incredible characters, by the way, in 10. We'll start maybe with Costas, recording engineer from Greece, of Australian, spent decades in Australia and made incredible recordings. He is really of the Mark Levinson generation and somebody that's been there since the beginning of high-end. Very sympathetic and extremely knowledgeable. His recordings are very respected. In terms of
in Munich, a very, very nice person.
Very nice person, and again enjoying a fantastic lifestyle. I think there is something in common thread in 10, is that all the manufacturers in 10 do not seek to grow with situations and problems. They just want to have enough to have
enjoy life.
Enjoy life. That's it, and that's definitely the case of Costas. I'm told that he goes snorkeling every day in Greece, so he has a good life. In the case of the turntable source, I feel very strong about the man behind the turntable, Mark Dorman, and I think he is really streets ahead of the competition. His technology is unbelievable, isolation technology, which makes it effectively, I think, the finest turntables in the world. So I'm very proud of that. In terms of the phono stage, again, a very eccentric Swiss man that worked for years at Revox, and I was told, I haven't verified this information, he holds more patents for Revox than any other engineer, and again, a phono stage with unique specs. I'm talking about the HSC now. You get something like minus 120 dB signal to noise, and so that's for the phono stage. Now the preamp power on the solid stage, is Robert Coda, all hand-built, all handcrafted. And on the valve side, we've got a very eccentric ex-rock star from Serbia. So you see, I went all over the world for that, and which builds extraordinary single-ended amplifiers, yes. So, and other things, and lovely little preamps and lovely power amps as well. But mostly, his flagships are extraordinary. Trafomatic, absolutely.
The Rhapsody too.
Rhapsody is something else. It's more affordable. No, there's a Rhapsody amplifier now as well. So Rhapsody integrator. No, but I'm talking about the Elysiums and the Tara, which the Tara is a preamplifier that looks like a power amp. It just so. Yes, it's so.
What about the loudspeakers in your?
Yes, in the group, in the 10 collection, as I said, we have one a very specific. And yes, we have that fabulous artisan, again, from New York. I think they're based in Brooklyn, and every speaker gets listened by John. It's absolutely impossible to get stock. People have sometimes to wait 8-9 months, and guess what? They are prepared to wait. So yes, it's a fantastic, very different than anything magical. Wilson, it's a very different thing. It's more like a nostalgia type of product.
It plays the music, not just the sound.
Exactly. That's a good analogy, but you should be doing my...
Thanks for the evolution of the 10 collection.
Okay, so...
Any upcoming editions?
Yeah, we're keeping... one has just been launched now recently. As you know, we were the oldest established, historically, Koetsu importer. And unfortunately, the son of the founder died recently, October last year. And his family has decided that the name of the brand should stay with the family and shouldn't be sold. So we won't see any more Koetsu. But I have now found a fantastic brand of cartridge. It's called Analog Relax, which is, again, is a small guy building moving coils. A fanatic. He has his, he is the founder of not Chet Baker, but Zoot Sims saxophonist fan club in Japan. So yeah, that connection is there as well with music.
What more can you tell us about 10 collection?
Well, 10 is a small collection. In actual fact, we don't make big advertising about it. It becomes a word of mouth thing, and people adhere to. It's just like a little gentleman's club that probably had many audio equipment in their lives and seek something a little more exclusive and different. So yes, that's 10. Yeah, that's 10.
Thank you very much.
And yes, about music, the thread is there. So there's a big musical thread in all the founders, all the members, manufacturers in the. I can tell you that Robert Coder, for example, has 3 hours a day of music, and he makes that a religion. And the same applies for many of them. So yes.
All the 10 manufacturers enjoy life and music.
Life and music, and yes, and probably not the more futile side of life, which means big watches, big cars, big wines. Well, no, big wines they probably do actually. The big wines they probably do. But you know what I'm saying. It's not the jet set life. It's more a spiritual type of connection. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jose. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And HIFICLUBE thanks you for the interview.
Oh, well, you did very well, but we know each other forever, no?
Oh, yes.
It's almost in another world that we know each other. Yes.